Hey guys, so I did a blog post about this a few weeks ago and I thought, that might make a good video topic. So these are the things that I wish I knew or I wish I was prepared for prior to starting IVF. I don't know what I was expecting when doctors, my spouse and I decided that IVF was the route we were going to go. But for whatever reason, when it started, I felt like I was caught off guard. You ever have like a surprise party? I'm that type of person. I don't like surprises. Don't do that. I don't like surprises. No. I felt like with IVF, I walked into my house and everybody was like, surprise! And I pissed myself. That's how I felt. And I don't know why. So here are the things I wish I knew or I wish I at least was prepared for before starting IVF. And it's kind of crazy because it doesn't matter what race you are, what sexual orientation you are. When you find out you have to do infertility, all of us do the same thing. We go to YouTube, we watch all of these videos, we read blog posts, we do all of these things. So you think, oh, I got this, I got it. And then it starts and it's like, oh my God. The first thing I wish I was prepared for was shots. And it's crazy because when you start IVF is like a 3-month process. So when you start IVF, you have to take birth control pills first for like a month. And then you start shots. So although the birth control gave me the most side effects, the shots was the most unexpected. It was so many needles. I could not understand how one person can get shot so many times in a 10-day time span, because injections, you're only taking injections for like 2 weeks out of 3 months. It was so many freaking injections, man. And it was like I had to get injected with Menopur, then I had to take Flolestim, and then, so that was two a night. And the thing about Flolestim is it comes in a pen. So if for whatever reason, the amount of dosage your doctor tells you you need to take, if it's that much left in one pen, you got to inject yourself with that, and then you'll open up the new pen, inject yourself with the rest. So sometimes I was getting shot like 3 times a night. And then your second week of injections, you still have to take Flolestim, you have to take your Menopur, and now you adding one that's called Central Tide that you had to take in the morning. So now I gotta get shot 3 times, and for whatever reason, Central Tide burned. Oh my God, it burned and it itched like when you inject yourself with the, well, let me not even say myself, because all the women that can give themselves injections, you are my heroes. I am not about that life. I only injected myself 1 time. And that was because my wife had to take my daughter somewhere and you have to be on time. I'm not about that life. Okay, let's just say that. So shout out to my wife for giving me all of my injections. She's the real MVP. So Central Tide burns. It's like as soon as you release the medication into your body, you can feel instant itching all over and around that area, and it burns. It was a hot mess. So on average, you're taking up to 3 injections a day. Sometimes 4, because some women are prescribed progesterone oil, and that has to be injected in their butt muscle. Thankfully, I had the depositories for progesterone, but some women, they have to take the shot. So that's that. I was not prepared for that. So by the end of 1 cycle, I think I may have had 30 needles, somewhere around there. This is why when women finally get pregnant and you see them with those adorable pictures with all of these needles surrounded by the baby, surrounded by the sonogram, or baby booties or something. That's why it's so many needles, because you have to shoot yourself so much. Like, oh my God, so much. The second thing I wish I was prepared for was time. Everything about IVF is about time. The first thing you need to prepare yourself for is IVF is typically about a 3-month process, give or take a few weeks. About 3-month process. Okay? Month 1, birth control. So you're on birth control. I was 36 when I did IVF. So it's been a long time since I've been on birth control. So I was not ready for those side effects. So I had that for 1 month. Then after that month of birth control is up, you have injections for 2 weeks. Then after you take your injections, either the day before or 2 days before your egg retrieval, depending on your protocol, they will give you a trigger shot. Okay? So now you have the trigger shot. So then they take your eggs out, they retrieve your eggs. Now you got another week, because your eggs have to grow for 5 days, and it has to get to the blastocyst. I don't even think I'm saying that right. The blastocyst stage. So that's a week. That's 5 days. Then if you have PGS testing, which I recommend if you're higher in age like I am, if you can afford it, PGS testing, they have to ship your eggs off to a lab so they could test them to see if it's any abnormalities or if it's a chance that egg is a bad egg. Maybe you could miscarriage, things like that. That's another week, okay? So then you do the transfer. They'll transfer the eggs. Now you have to wait another 3 weeks. For me, in my time frame with my fertility clinic, it wasn't a 2-week wait. It was not exactly 10 days after the transfer that I tested. Typically, it was almost 3 weeks. So calculate all those weeks up, you're almost 3 months. So if you don't have a lot of time, or if you think this is going to be a quick process, or I'm gonna start IVF in September and I'm gonna have to transfer on October 1st. No, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. It's a lot that goes into IVF. Not only that, also with time is appointments. When you get into your injection phase, when you're taking your injections, you will have an appointment at your fertility clinic every other day, including weekends. And if your office, the office you typically go to is closed, you got to go to another office. But you're getting tested every other day. You have to go in for blood work, and you will get a vaginal sonogram so they can measure your eggs to make sure they're growing. Make sure they're growing on speed, they're not overgrowing. Or if they're growing slow, that way they'll know if they need to up your meds for the next night. If they're growing too fast and they're too big, your whole cycle can be canceled. So yeah, be prepared for that, because it's every other day. It doesn't matter. For me, it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for like the first week. And then the second week, it was like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, so on and so on and so on. So you have to be prepared for that. Third thing that I was not prepared for, waiting. Everything is a wait. If you think the 2-week wait after an IUI is hard, girl, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the wait with IVF is 10 times harder, especially after they retrieve your eggs. And it's hard because just because they retrieve, let's say 15 eggs, that does not mean you have 15 eggs to go into the freezer, because they're going to retrieve those eggs, they're going to fertilize those eggs, and then they're going to let them eggs bake in a sense for 5 days. By the end of the 5 days, some of those eggs will stop growing. Those eggs cannot be frozen, they cannot be transferred, they cannot be used. Some eggs will grow really, really slow. Those eggs will not be transferred, they will not be frozen, they will not be used. And it's a lot of women who go through that, and they really beat themselves up if some of them die out. Prepare yourself that the amount of eggs you start with after your retrieval is not going to be the amount of eggs you have when it's time to transfer. For me, it was like I had one cycle, I had 10 eggs. All of them unfertilized themselves and didn't make it. That was in July. Then I had another cycle, my last cycle, where I had like, I think 8 eggs. I had 8 eggs. And by the end of the week, I only was left with 3 eggs. And only one of them was perfect. The second one was close to being perfect. And the third one was still growing slow. So the plan was to freeze the last one. So we transferred the 2 good ones. None of them stuck. And we like, oh, we got one that's going in the freezer. That one unfertilized itself. So just be prepared that it's going to be a wait. And sometimes, say for instance, you retrieve 15 eggs, 10 unfertilized, so you got 5. If you send those eggs off for PGS testing, and by the time they come back from being tested to see if they're abnormal, if anything wrong with them, you may be left with just 1. But keep in mind, it only takes 1 egg. And if you don't believe me, when you finish watching this video, go to the Gabe Fix, GABEFIX, and she went through the same thing. She had 3 eggs. She sent her and her husband sent them for PGS testing. 2 came back abnormal. They only had that 1 egg, and that 1 egg worked, and she now has a beautiful baby girl. So all you need is 1 egg. The last, and certainly not least, thing I wish I was prepared for with starting IVF is sex. Or should I say what sex? Jesus. Y'all. It was something, girl. When you going through IVF, your spouse can't even whisper on your private part. Like, you can't come close. And I was thinking, oh, we're same sex, so that doesn't have anything to do with us. We can still do some things. We can't do all of the things, but we still can do some things. And you can't do nothing. So if you have a partner and you start an IVF, make sure your partner goes to doctor's appointments with you, so the doctor can tell him or her, listen, ain't nothing going down in the DM. Ain't nothing happening. You can't do anything. And the reason you can't have sex is they don't want any penetration, any penetration, especially if you heterosexual couple, because what if you get pregnant on your own? So you got that. Another thing is, even if you having oral sex, if you have an orgasm or you release, your stomach muscles, everything contracts, and that could loosen something up. That can mess up your eggs. If you done had your transfer, that is a chance you can lose that. It's a lot riding on it. So sex is a no-go. And then after that, after you go through the transfer and everything like that, let's say you get pregnant, which we're hoping So you get pregnant, right? You still can't have sex for like 6 weeks because you're taking progesterone, either depositories or injections, to make sure that the pregnancy make it. Because typically with fertility clinics, you have to make it to at least 9 weeks before they'll release you to a regular GYN. Now, when they release you to your OBGYN, that's when you can get it in. But most people be so afraid because of everything you have to go through with IVF, and all of the injections and all of the sensitivity, and you know, your uterus being swollen because your eggs is bigger and you're uncomfortable, all of this stuff. Most people honestly do not have sex until their second trimester. These are the things I wish I knew. Man, when I tell you I was so horny, like, we friends, we could talk about this. Like, going through IVF, that was the horniest I've ever been in my life. Ever. Because on a regular day outside of the meds, I'm so attracted to my spouse. Like, she could walk down the stairs in some holy underwear or something, and I'd be like, damn, you know? So you have that, and now you have the injections and everything, and that's messing with your hormones. So you hot, and you hot, and you bothered, and you just want it, and you can't. I ain't even want to sleep in the same bed with her, for real. And then other times when you in the birth control phase, one of the side effects from the birth control is no sex drive. So if you start an IVF, the best advice I can give you is to prepare for the unexpected, because nothing about IVF is going to go according to plan. And I'm saying this because I've gone through IVF. I have to go through IVF again. My best friend, she went through IVF. She has the cutest twins. God, I love them. I wish I could like clone them, you know. It's so cute. I have another friend who went through IVF, and a coworker, and this is something that all of us can agree with. Prepare for the unexpected. If you are someone who is controlling, this is going to be a hard process for you, but hopefully at the end the process will be 100 times worth it.